And you're
Right.
kind of the anti-corporate fractional marketing
Yeah.
department, right?
I kind of am. I am the
Yeah.
antithesis to all of that because, as a fiercely independent service provider myself who has been through the fire multiple times, I know what it's like to be in that space where, there's the big marketing agencies, there's the big marketing firms, and it's like, I'm not them and I don't want to be them because they're cookie cutter, they're random tactics. They don't give a damn about their clients. They'll work for anybody if they'll pay them money. I'm been there, done that, over it long time ago.
What if the truth came in a gel cap and we could just pop it in our mouths and forget about it? Well, it doesn't. And we can't. But we can laugh in the face of reality while plotting our survival. Welcome to the Truth Tastes Funny podcast. I am your host, Hirsch Redpun. And if my guests can handle the truth, so can you. Open wide, folks. Here it comes. Okay, Truth Tastes Funny family. I suggest you buckle up because today's guest is the marketing equivalent of a SWAT team with a spreadsheet. This episode rides the sweet spot, I think, between my two podcasts, Truth Tastes Funny, which is this show, which is about how to survive and thrive in a chaotic world, and Yes Brand, where I grill sharp creative brand owners who actually know how to turn truth into traction. So you can see both of the shows are about truth and both have kind of a humorous bent to them. So we're going to have a lot of fun today. My guest is Sophie Zollmann. Sophie is the founder of FMD Strategic Partners. It's a digital market. She's a digital marketing vet with 20 years in the trenches. She's a best-selling author. She's a speaker. She doesn't do the fluff thing. She just does the results thing. And she's leading what I like to call a keep your freedom, lose the chaos movement for 7 and 8 figure independent healthcare, legal, and financial pros who want to grow without selling their souls to the big corporate beige. So Sophie basically invented fractional marketing department model, which is an entire department dedicated to marketing, but it's fractional. So it's enterprise level strategy and execution, but you don't have to hire a small army, manage a circus, or burn half of your profit in overhead. And her superpower, although she has a lot of powers, I've spoken to her many times. I think she does have a lot of superpowers, is turning random acts of marketing into a cohesive, measurable system that drives real sustainable growth while keeping your independence intact. So translate that into scale smarter, not harder, and definitely not stupider. She's data driven, strategically ruthless in the nicest way, and the go to partner for high revenue service providers who are ready to stop dabbling and start dominating their niche. And when she's not out here saving independent practices from marketing mayhem, she is in Harry Potter world chasing sunshine on beaches and spoiling her grandson like it's a competitive sport. So if you've ever felt like your marketing is like a junk drawer full of tactics, Sophie's gonna Marie Kondo your whole growth plan. And as you can see, that's why we are straddling both shows here today. Welcome, Sophie, to the podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here. And what a phenomenal introduction. That is the best one I have had to date. I love it.
Thank
I
you.
I need to steal that.
Well, it's yours now. That's the beautiful thing. And I, we've talked about this. It's so important to stand out and to have people not just remember you, but really understand you. And I think that there's a sweet spot there too, because a lot of times we don't reflect on ourselves. And that's in a lot of ways what our show is about too, which is when the world gets crazy, how do you stay sane or how do you keep it together? How do you keep it together, Sophie?
Oh, wow. There's lots of things. And believe me, I've been through the roller coasters, the fires, and all of those things. And, staying with it and believing in myself, trusting in myself, but also having a support system around me and definitely taking care of myself because part of those emergencies of life are medical emergencies. And, you can be the person in the best shape and something can still go wrong. So you always have to know that good times or bad times, stuff happens, shit happens. Excuse my French in case I'm
Oh
gonna.
yeah, we have an explicit rating here, so you can say whatever the fuck you want. Really, is you
All
how it
right.
goes.
Yeah, shit happens,
Yes.
and you gotta keep going because failure is not failure unless you quit or give up. And I know that's kind of paraphrasing a famous quote, so I don't want to plagiarize anything, but it's the truth. If you're going to be
Yeah.
in business and if you're going to be in life, because life and business go hand in hand, and life is a success thing and business is a success thing, for you to be happy and successful, you've got to be able to go with the punches, to deal with the unexpected. And when the shit hits the fan and you lose it all, it's not the end of the world unless you quit, unless you give
Yeah.
up. And I am in probably like round 3 or 4 of the shit hitting the fan, practically losing it all and starting over, partly by choice this time, not by bad decisions like the last time. But yeah, those things happen too. And you think it's a good thing, and you're doing all the stuff up in the head, the decision making, the ooh, well, this looks good, and the numbers, and ooh, that, and then your gut's going, no, don't do it. You're like, oh, screw you. I know what I'm doing here. And then a year later, everything falls apart because that decision really cuts your head off, so to speak. And then you are like, oh shit, well, that was a bad decision, but here we go. Now I have an opportunity to start again, do what I want, how I want, with the proper support in place. And oh, by the way, I actually back then had, well, I still have my husband. Don't get me wrong, we're not divorced or anything. But back then, my husband stepped up in the biggest supportive way of me and my business that he ever has. Not that he wasn't supportive, but he really showed it. He said, "Honey," he goes, "I know you're upset right now." He goes, "But this is good." And I'm like, "Excuse me, what the did you just say?
Yeah.
This is good that I just got fired from my one and only client and I just lost it all." And he's like, "Well, you know, it was killing you. You were stressed. They were mistreating you. You were working all the time. It's like, now you have a choice." And I'm like, huh. He goes, "You can either quit and retire because you don't have to work anymore, or you can start over and do what you want.
Yeah.
And, figure out your money, figure out what you need, and we'll invest in your company and give you a good 6 to 12 months to try again." We have never put money in my business up to this point.
Yeah.
We put money into my business. And guess what? I regrew it to 6 figures and beyond in about 15 months, continued to grow my income into multiple 6 figures, and was moving along. And then last year, I had this great idea to do what I do now. I'm like, ooh, I hate operations. Operations and marketing don't go together like I've been trying to do all these years. And I love marketing. I hate operations. Let's do marketing. So, another conscious decision, but one my gut agreed with this time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't go against my gut this time because my gut was the one telling me, "You hate operations. Would you stop doing operations?" And finally I
Yeah.
said, "You know what? You're right. And I promised to listen to you. So here I am listening to you." So cut the cord on all operations, got rid of all operations clients, focused on marketing, created this phenomenal fractional marketing department concept, converted one of my clients into it, been running with him for a year or so, learning, growing, changing, figuring out what works and what doesn't work, and really knowing that this is it. This is the thing because it's needed. I love doing it. My team loves doing it. And the more I talk to the independent practitioners of the world, the more they're like, "Oh my God, that is amazing." And
Yeah.
it's like, "Thank you. Now let's do this."
Well, there's two things that come to mind, unpacking what you've shared. One is that the last time when you took your husband's advice and support, and you guys went ahead and did this, did your previous company, you were proving to yourself that you could do that, that you could build that. Um, but it didn't mean that that was the thing that was going to give you the most joy or that was going to be the most fulfilling. So you had fulfillment that you built it up, but you also had more that you wanted to do. And I think the thing about retirement and whether to retire, uh, is something I think about a lot too, which is you you're going to succeed with a business if it's a must have for you. If it's a nice to have for you, then it probably won't do anything. We probably both have a lot of friends who have reached that point where they weren't sure whether they wanted to stop or continue, and they continued, but their heart isn't really in it, and so it just doesn't really happen. It just
Right.
kind of it becomes more of a pain than anything else. Now you're inspired, and this fractional department idea is so timely. I mean, we see so many people coming out of the corporate um, world and fold either by their own choice or getting rolled out of it, you know, and they want to be independent, but also they're only one person. So this creates a void that you're filling. Um, and talk to me a little bit about your background. Share a little of your background and your ethos, so that we can understand why your model is shaping up the way it is.
Well, back in the day, I grew up on a pig farm in southern Illinois with a dad who cussed like a sailor, a grandfather who passed down the dirty alphabet to the whole family, and presented themselves as they are: loud, blunt, straightforward, to the point, no sugarcoating. This is life, this is real world, this is who I am, this is what we do, etc. And the occasional well, a lot of F bombs, I'm not going to lie. A lot of F bombs and some really seriously made up cuss words. I mean, we could go on about that all day. But growing
Well,
up under
wait, Sophie, you got to tell me a made up curse word because those come in handy when you don't have an explicit rating.
well, my father had this saying about when you're about crazy times, nervous times, whatnot. And if you'd see someone that was like fidgety and whatnot, it'd be like, oh, they're as nervous as a whore in church. And it's just like, oh, did you just say that? And he's like, yeah, I did. And
That's
he
funny.
had little catchphrases like that. And then, then there's the dirty alphabet, which, I'm going to be a more clean one that he taught my 2 year
Okay.
old nephew. O is the owl sitting in the grass. Peepaw parrot pecked him in the ass. That's part of the dirty alphabet. There's more
Right.
parts to it
Okay.
too. But I
Well,
mean, we were a very outspoken, down and dirty kind of family. He had 4 girls before he had a son, my little brother. And, it was wild times on a pig farm in Illinois. And, I went through college and I went through life being that boisterous, outgoing person and that loudmouth and that F bomber and everything until I got into my own business.
right.
And then it all went, I have to be this prim and proper professional business person, especially since I'm a woman. And, none of that can happen anymore.
Yeah. And what
And
did you get into? What was your first uh job that you took on?
oh, so, well, on the farm, my first major job was castrating pigs. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Men beware. No. Um,
And
but
then you became a divorce attorney. And then
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a divorce attorney for women who want the cut off their men.
castrate pig.
Yes,
Okay.
no. But
Sorry, fellas. Couldn't resist that one.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. And you talk about that in a psychology class in college. You don't get a date in that psychology class, and the
Yeah.
guys won't even talk to you. But and that was my first job, and getting down and dirty and pig shit, literally. I mean, literally. And so I grew up pretty tough, pretty badass, and I lived my life that way. And and then I got it in, gosh, 25 years ago now. I needed to help the financial side of the family. My husband's job wasn't paying enough, and we had 2 kids, but a job would only go to daycare. So I jumped into the online world 25 years ago and got the first remote job long before it was a thing, long before the pandemic. I was a virtual customer service representative for an e-commerce company. I lived in Virginia, he was in New York.
Wow.
And I worked with him and grew his company and ended up running the company, grew it into a $500,000 a year company, was the business manager and everything else, except the web designer guy. He did that. I did everything else. And I was running this $500,000 company for a lovely $12 an hour.
Oh my God. Yeah.
$12 an hour. Oh, and
Yeah.
a whopping like $2,000 bonus at Christmas.
Nice.
Yeah, I said no more. I'm burned out, fried. I quit. And I became a stay-at-home mom again. 8 months later, house fell apart, things started breaking, nest egg went out the window, went back to work online as a transcriptionist. And that's where I found my ideal clients of the time and what I wanted to do. I relaunched myself as a virtual assistant, looking to work with the coaches, consultants, and online business owners of the world that I had just transcribed their teleseminars, back before Zoom was a thing.
Yeah.
And I got on social media from my son's hospital room while he was having surgery and networked and whatnot for 6 months. Other virtual assistants wanted to subcontract to me. And so in October of 2009, my business was born and I became an LLC. I was a virtual assistant company. I grew a team to do the things I didn't know how to do or didn't want to do pretty quickly. Ran that for many years, became a certified social media manager and online business manager in 2016 and kind of went solo again and built that up to just the cusp of six figures. I was at that cusp and
Yeah.
decided to I met David Nagel back then. He was probably my first big time coach that helped me along the way. Met him, got into one of his little virtual programs. That's where I grew to six figures. Then went exclusive to get that six figures, then got fired in 2019. And David Nagel and my was the other half of my support that year. And between a VIP day and the coaching program I was in with him, that's how I came about with a digital marketing agency. I had just soft launched it weeks before I got fired because I knew that one job was not going to be enough. I knew that I was
Right.
never going to get anywhere, really. And so I started a digital marketing agency back then. That's what I grew into, the multiple six figures, and then I threw in the operations stuff, and that's where I plateaued. And because like I said, the operations and manage and the marketing just really never went together well, and nobody
No,
really
yeah.
got it. So then
Those
2019.
that's pretty those two things are like right brain left brain type of things in many ways, right?
Yeah.
I'm not an operations person, but I'm a strategic marketing, mind or brand or voice, whatever we want to call it. Doesn't it's still the what I would call the creative strategy side. And
Hmm.
then, the operation side is practical, technical, it's really important, but
Hmm.
to be able to do both things is unusual and, as you learned, kind of a quandary, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I can do both. I'm good at both. And, but when you learn to practice what you preach as well as listen to your gut, you got to do what you love. And for years, I was preaching, do what you love, delegate the rest, get rid of it, whatever. And here I was still trying to do operations and marketing, and I just don't like operations, but I'm really good at it, and it made money-ish. But I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what? It's not about the money if you hate what you're doing. So
Yeah.
I gave up the operations and went on all in on the marketing again, which is what worked the last time. So we're doing it again, but we're doing it on a much higher level, a much bigger level, a more boutique, mission oriented, impact oriented way with what we're doing now.
Yeah, well, let's dive into that. Let's talk about the mission that you're on and the kind of clients. It would be enough to just be a fractional marketing department. That would already be innovative. It already is innovative. But you drill down a little further to figure out, okay, well, who do you really want to serve with this? Right? A big
Yeah.
corporation has their own marketing department. They don't need a fractional marketing department. And you're
Right.
kind of the anti-corporate
I
fractional marketing department,
am.
right?
I kind of am. I am the
Yeah.
antithesis to all of that because as a fiercely independent service provider myself who has been through the fire multiple times, I know what it's like to be in that space where, there's the big marketing agencies, there's the big marketing firms, and it's like, I'm not them and I don't want to be them because they're cookie cutter, they're random tactics. They don't give a damn about their clients. They'll work for anybody if they'll pay them money. I'm been there, done that over it long time ago. So I did some market research and talked to doctors, lawyers, and financial service providers in that independent, privately owned space. And their number one thing was, I am fiercely independent. I want to stay independent. I don't want to be bought out. I don't want to work for the big hospitals or the big law firms or the big Merrill Lynch's, whatever. I want to serve my people my way and serve my community at the same time, because by taking care of my people in my way with the personal excellent care that I give, not the corporate managed, corporate mandated, crappy health care, all those things, but they're lost in the sea of that $1 million, $1 billion corporate marketing. They can't
Right.
get their head above that water. They need corporate level marketing. And I'm like, oh, well, I can do that. And I can do it for way
Mm,
less. And I can do
yeah.
it within the normal financial budgets that your CFO is going to give you, that your financial planner is going to give you, whatever the case may be. Is, we are also unique in how we charge for our services. We're not hourly. We're not retainer based. We are a percentage of your gross revenue, and it includes the ad spend. We divide that up into ad spend and our spend, and we get you everything you need. The data driven custom marketing strategy first and foremost, because random tactics, or as I like to say, throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks, is not a strategy, and it does not work. So we're going to get the strategy, we're going to get the plan, and then we've got the entire department to execute it, to measure the real KPIs and metrics that are about business goals and bottom lines, not vanity metrics and ego. And we're putting that all together to be able to have that impact, to keep those independent providers, those family owned legacy businesses, and those employee owned companies that are doing everything in their power to not sell out, to not sell their soul to the devil, as I call it, to be able to stay and provide their service, their excellence to their people in their communities, because that's what people are turning back to, believe it or not, because
Yeah.
everybody's tired of the poor corporate quality service, etc. They're getting back to the mom and pops and the privately owned because they get better care and service there. And those are the people I want to support and keep open, because it keeps me open and supported too.
Yes. Yeah. And you have the same goals. I
Yes.
mean, you have the same values as well. The corporate, the thing that the corporate, bean counters don't really get is that if people have a choice, they will exercise it. And what you're doing through the corporate level marketing is you're giving these companies audience a choice.
Yes.
They're getting a choice because they're made aware of something. They're brought in and they have a choice. And that's the undoing of the corporate kind of cold-hearted, money is the bottom line, attitude and approach. Um, you know, so when did this take hold? When did you start the new entity? When did you launch the new entity?
So I developed the concept and the business model from July of last year until January of this year, and then January of this year, I in that process I renamed it to FMD Strategic Partners and launched it. Then I launched it January of 2025 this year, and then started educating and doing my thing, because I do for
Yeah.
me what I do for my clients: the strategy, the plan, the team. I had my director of marketing, the whole nine yards, building it out, getting the content, getting the strategy, doing the things, and fine tuning and figuring out what works and doesn't work. And again, now I'm at the end of this year going, okay, here we are. This is the year didn't go as we had thought, didn't go as
Right.
planned, economics, politics, you name it, the world went crazy. And, and it takes time. A new thing takes time. And
Yeah.
it's a totally new concept. It's rare, unique, and you got to get out there and you keep going. So, having a conversation with you prior to this podcast, I'm getting enlightened and I'm getting support and I'm asking for help from certain people that I know can help me do more and get this out there.
Yeah.
People who are behind me going, "Oh my God, I don't know what happened to 2025, but there people need you and people we just, so I'm doing the things. I'm expanding on who I am as a person, the pig farmer, the castrating, the F bombs, all the things are coming loose, coming out. I mean, next year you're going to see well, I call it, you're going to see all of Sophie, not just what you've
Well,
seen of Sophie so far. You're going to see all of it. And it's going
yeah.
to get real raw, down and dirty, and potentially offensive. And that's okay. If it's offensive to you, then you're not my people, and that's okay. But those that get it and hear it and accept it and feel it are going to be like, oh my gosh, somebody gets it and knows it and doesn't tell me what I want to hear. Doesn't tell me the fluff and the puff and the she's going to actually do some real stuff here, and they're going to resonate with me and they're going to come to me, and it's going to be a phenomenal thing.
Well, one of the reasons we hit it off so well is because to me, the whole selling the truth idea is that that's what you have to work with. That's what you have to lead with. It's those quirks or things about somebody, about ourselves, about you that, we might push down in another environment. But
Mhm.
now the restraints are off. There's no you're not tied to a model that you don't love. You're not tied to services that you don't love. You're literally the opposite. You actually have experienced a revolution where you now are 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 all in on your own belief system and the stuff you really want to do.
Yep.
There's I attended a seminar this weekend where there was a lot of conversation about how when you do things that you don't want to do, uh, you fail. Basically, you don't. It doesn't mean you're always going to fail at doing what you don't like, because some of us are really good at things that we just don't love doing. But by fail, it means you need a balance. You need to have the desire and some pushback, and then you can keep climbing up. But if you don't have that desire and you're just kind of doing it almost automatically, it just doesn't you're not pushing against anything but your own resistance. And that's just a weird formula. So it was interesting because I think you're no longer pushing against anything that you're doing. You're pushing forward.
Yes.
You're pushing ahead. So what can people expect um, coming into this year? We know we got a sense of some of it, but let's circle back to what makes truth taste so funny. is that is that it's something we have to face, right? So your prospective clients that are out there, what are some of the things they're facing right now?
They're not seen, they're not heard, they don't know why they can't get their social media to work. They don't know why their website isn't getting leads. They don't know why they are, even their own current patients or clients aren't out there as their rave review advocates referring them business. They've gotten lost in the day to day. They've gotten lost in, you know trying to do it all, trying to be the doctor, the marketer, the office, manager, and all those things. And they just don't know how to outswim the sharks. They're getting swallowed up by the sharks because they don't know how to get away from them and to stand out and be different. And they don't even realize that their independence, their personal service, who they are as a person and their backstory, no matter what that is what makes them different and is what's going to get them in front of the right people, the people that want to see them, that want their services over the corporate services or what have you. And they're lost because they're doing what they've always done. They're doing what random tactics have been told to them. They might be following trends that are not them. I mean, if they're going on TikTok and doing the stupid dancing thing, they've probably killed their reputation anyway, and we have a lot of work to do to fix that. But, even if they're not, they don't know what they don't know. They don't come from a place of strategy and KPIs and metrics that matter because they're told, oh, just get on social media and get likes and shares and comments and you're golden. It's like, no,
Yeah.
not really. It's they don't know who to talk to, where to talk to them, and how to talk to them. They talk their expertise. I have 5 degrees in medical practice, and I have 6 degrees in this, and I have 25 years of doing nose jobs. It's like, yeah, so what? So does half the other people in the city. It's not
Yeah.
about your expertise and your degrees. It's about what makes you different. What transformation do your clients or patients receive? You got to talk to your people like they're already clients because
Yeah.
they got to know what you're going to do for them. It's about your clients and your patients. It's not about you.
Yeah, that's very well said. So for those people who may be listening and say, "Oh man, this is hitting me. I need to have a little Sophie in my life and my business." And where do they find you?
They can find me at fmdstrategicpartners.com. They can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and X. And they can find me by email at Sophie, Sophie, at fmdstrategicpartners.com.
That's awesome. Well, I love this conversation. I think that you leave every room kind of cleaner than you found it, if not with the language, then with the clarity of people knowing that, they don't have to they can let it hang out, they can relax, but they can be themselves. In fact, they should, but they kind of also need to organize all of that stuff and put their energies in the right place. And certainly it seems like you are doing that. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast, and I can't wait to see how things go from here for all of us. 2026 is going to be an interesting year.
Thanks so much for tuning into Truth Tastes Funny. If you enjoyed the experience, please leave a 5-star review and share this podcast with your friends.